President John Dramani Mahama is scheduled to deliver the 2026 State of the Nation Address in Parliament on Friday, February 27th. The annual address will provide a comprehensive assessment of Ghana's current situation, highlighting the government's achievements and outlining key priorities and policy initiatives for the year ahead. President Mahama is expected to focus on critical sectors, including the economy, health, education, agriculture, and infrastructure, while also addressing Ghana's foreign relations and international commitments. The address fulfills a constitutional requirement under Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution, which mandates that the President appear before Parliament at the start of each session to report on the state of the nation. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Armakofi-Bua, has commissioned the B5+ steel ball mill and section mill manufacturing plant at Lakplika village, describing the project as a major step toward Ghana's industrial transformation. Speaking at the ceremony, the minister said the plant represents a strategic shift from raw material exportation to local processing and manufacturing, in line with government's broader industrialization agenda. Today is not just the opening of a factory. It is the commissioning of confidence, capacity, and Ghana's industrial destiny, he stated. Mr. Bua noted that although Ghana is richly endowed with mineral resources including iron ore, manganese, bauxite, gold, and limestone, the country's development conversation has historically centered on extraction rather than value addition. For too long, our national conversation has centered on extraction. But today we celebrate transformation, he said. He explained that the steel ball mill and section mill plant would enable Ghana to process raw materials locally, build downstream industries, and create skilled jobs for Ghanaians. Officials of Ghana Water Limited, GWL, have uncovered an illegal water connection at a mineral water production facility in the Klagan area near Tema. The discovery was made by one of 10 special non-revenue water task teams recently inaugurated by the company's management. The teams have been established following internal assessments which revealed that approximately 52% of treated water produced by GWL cannot be accounted for, resulting in significant revenue losses that affect operations and service delivery. The exercise forms part of intensified efforts to curb non-revenue water losses across the country. Speaking to journalists at the site, the Tema Regional Communications Manager of GWL, Samson Ampa, explained that the inspection led to the detection of a sophisticated and concealed illegal connection allegedly carried out at the mineral water factory. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has sealed 18 warehouses in Bida, Niger State, after discovering large quantities of expired food and beverage products. Officials estimate the value of the seized items at over 100 million naira. The warehouses, located around Dazebo White House along Minna Road and behind Bida Modern Market, were shut following an intelligence-led raid by NAFDAC's investigation and enforcement team. The agency said the facilities were being used to store expired goods that were already being repackaged for sale. Items recovered during the operation included expired non-alcoholic beverages, dairy milk, candies, bottled water, pasta, and other assorted products. Some of the products had allegedly been relabeled or repackaged to conceal their expired status before being returned to the market. NAFDAC disclosed that preliminary investigations linked the warehouses to a company identified as BY Ventures. This led officials to extend the operation to supermarkets owned by the same firm in Minna, where more expired items and suspected counterfeit Goya oil were also found and the outlet sealed. Operatives of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission have searched the Abuja residence of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai. The raid took place on Thursday while the former governor remained in the custody of the Anti-Graft Agency over an ongoing investigation. El-Rufai's media aide, Maiwa Adekai, confirmed the operation in a brief statement, saying ICPC officials searched the entire property. His lawyer, Obong Akpan, condemned the search, describing it as unlawful and a violation of his client's fundamental rights and due process. ICPC had earlier disclosed that El-Rufai was in its custody in connection with investigations into alleged financial misconduct during his tenure as governor from 2015 to 2023. An early morning fire has destroyed several shops at the Quailmar Fatima Simmer Market, in the Dakota area of Nasarawa local government, Kano State. The incident occurred on Friday, just days after another major market fire in the state, raising fresh concerns about safety in crowded business areas. The blaze, which started in the small-scale industrial section of the market, affected shops mainly involved in oil production and the recycling of plastics and nylon materials. Witnesses said the fire broke out in the early hours of the morning and spread quickly before firefighters arrived. Preliminary estimates by local market leaders suggest that about 50 shops were destroyed in the incident. Traders watched helplessly as goods, equipment, and structures were reduced to ashes. The Kano State Fire Service confirmed the outbreak and said its personnel were deployed to the scene to bring the flames under control and prevent further damage. Officials said the full extent of losses and the exact cause of the fire will be known after a detailed investigation. United States President Donald Trump says the world will know within about 10 days whether his administration reaches a new deal with Iran or decides to launch military action. He warned that if diplomacy fails, Washington is prepared to respond with force. Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump said talks with Iran were serious, but insisted any agreement must go beyond the previous nuclear deal. He wants tighter restrictions on Iran's nuclear program, limits on its ballistic missiles, and changes to its regional activities. The comments come as the United States continues a major military buildup around Iran, moving additional warships, aircraft, and troops into the region. American officials say the deployments are meant to deter Tehran and protect U.S. personnel and allies. Britain's Foreign Minister Yvette Cooper will meet United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Washington on Friday amid rising tensions over their joint military base on Diego Garcia. The talks follow President Donald Trump's renewed criticism of the UK's decision to cede sovereignty over the surrounding Chagos Islands to Mauritius. Under a deal agreed last year by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Britain will transfer sovereignty of the Chagos Islands while keeping control of the Diego Garcia base through a 99-year lease that guarantees continued U.S. military access. Washington initially backed the arrangement, but Trump has since repeatedly attacked it, calling the move a big mistake and warning London not to give away Diego Garcia. The dispute has sharpened as the U.S. steps up military deployments around Iran and weighs possible strikes against its nuclear and military facilities. British media report that Starmer's government has so far refused to approve the use of Diego Garcia for any future Iran attack missions, over concerns this could breach international law. An Austrian court has convicted an experienced mountaineer over the death of his girlfriend during a winter ascent of Grossglockner, the country's highest peak. The defendant, identified as Thomas P. in accordance with Austrian privacy rules, was found guilty of gross negligent manslaughter. The court handed him a 5-month suspended prison sentence and imposed a fine of €9,600, £8,400. His partner, Kirsten G., died from hypothermia during their climb in January 2025. In a statement cited by the BBC, the court said it took into account the defendant's previously clean criminal record and the personal loss he had suffered. Judges also acknowledged the intense public scrutiny on social media, which they described as prejudicial. American actor Eric Dane, widely known for his performances in Grey's Anatomy and Euphoria, has died at the age of 53, less than a year after publicly revealing he had a myotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. His family confirmed that he passed away on Thursday following what they described as a courageous battle with the disease. In a statement, they said he was surrounded by loved ones, including his wife, actress Rebecca Gayheart, and their 2 daughters, Billy and Georgia. Born in San Francisco in 1972, Dane began his television career in 1993 with an appearance on The Wonder Years. He later gained recognition for his role as Jason Dean in Charmed before rising to international fame as Dr. Mark Sloan, famously nicknamed Dr. McSteamy, in Grey's Anatomy. He first appeared in the series in 2006 and quickly became a central cast member. In Togo, the government officially announced on Thursday, February 19, 2026, the creation of the Institut Géographique National du Togo. The move transforms the former Directorate General of Geographic Information into a public institution with administrative and financial autonomy. The reform aims to remove long-standing obstacles that have limited the production of reliable geographic data. According to the Council of Ministers statement, the current system has faced technical and institutional constraints that have hindered the generation of accurate information. The new institute will be responsible for organizing the collection, processing, and distribution of geographic data. These datasets are increasingly important for territorial planning, land management, and the implementation of infrastructure projects. The Ministry of Security and Civil Protection of Togo held a ceremony on February 18, 2026 to return 12 luxury vehicles that had been stolen in the United States and later located in Togo. The vehicles were officially handed back to American authorities after being identified and recovered by Togolese security services. Officials said the operation reflects the vigilance of national forces and their determination to protect the logistics hub of Lomé from transnational trafficking networks. The event also highlighted cooperation between Togo, Interpol, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. During the ceremony, the keys were symbolically handed to the FBI's regional representative. Authorities stressed that this operational partnership plays an important role in strengthening the fight against international crime and dismantling global criminal networks.